study reveals how ancient humans escaped climate extinction 900,000 years ago. Sophisticated climate models were paired with evidence from the archaeological record to reveal where ancient humans may have lived and evolved. Can you imagine? What if there were only 1,000 couples worldwide that had been left? According to the results of a genomic study published last year, modern humanity's ancestors were reduced to a breeding population of barely 1,300 individuals in a devastating bottleneck that brought us to the very brink of annihilation. And now a new study has found that a mass migration of humans out of Africa occurred at the same time. It's a discovery that confirms the previous dating of the population decline and suggests that the two are linked to a common denominator, an event known as the mid-Pleistocene transition, in which Earth's climate underwent a period of utter turmoil, wiping out many species. The movement of early humans into and across Europe and Asia from Africa is difficult to reconstruct. The best evidence we have consists of a sparse record of bones and mostly stone artifacts, which can be challenging to date. However, the evidence suggests that it was not one event, but multiple waves of early hominids and human ancestors that packed up their lives and made long journeys into new environments. Two recent studies have linked human migration to a population bottleneck based on different types of analysis. A close reading of the human genome found that a population bottleneck caused a loss of genetic diversity some 900,000 years ago. A second study, published a few weeks later, studied early archaeological sites in Eurasia and dated the bottleneck to 1.1 million years ago. This discrepancy makes it challenging to identify the climate event and may have caused or at least the very least contributed to the temporary drop in numbers. So geologist Giovanni Muttoni of the University of Milan and Dennis Kent of Columbia University embarked on an effort to narrow down the timing of the bottleneck. First, the researchers reevaluated records of sites and early hominid habitation across Eurasia and found a cluster of sites reliably dated to 900,000 years ago. In comparison, the dating on older sites used as evidence of a population bottleneck was more ambiguous and therefore disputable. They compared their findings to marine sediment records, which preserve evidence of changes in the climate in the form of oxygen isotopes. Ratios of oxygen trapped in sediment layers indicate whether the climate was summer or warmer or cooler at the time the minerals were deposited. The genomic data and the dating of the hominid sites together suggest that the bottleneck and the migration were simultaneous. During the mid-Pleistocene transition, global ocean levels dropped and Africa and Asia dried out, with large patches of aridity. Hominids living in Africa would have faced horrible conditions, depriving them of food and water. Fortunately, with the falling sea levels, land routes into Eurasia became available, and they were able to skedaddle according to the researchers' model. And this is not to say, they carefully note, that hominids had not migrated previously, rather that the population bottleneck in the ancestor of modern Homo sapiens and the migration thereof occurred at the same time as a result of the climate upheaval that was occurring some 900,000 years ago. We suggest that the enhanced aridity during marine isotope stage 22 that caused the spread of savanna and arid zones across much of the continent of Africa, continental Africa, pushed early Homo populations in Africa to adopt or migrate to avoid extinction, they write in their paper. They say rapid migration in response to a severe climate trigger and concomitant means to escape is what can account for the migration out of Africa 900,000 years ago and contribute to the modern genomic evidence in modern African populations of the bottleneck. The findings were published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and this is on Science Alert by Michelle Starr, and it's on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.